Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. So it's that time again. Every month Paizo puts out a live stream called Paizo Live. Here they talk about their new projects, hyping new things, and releases coming down the pipeline. You can find these videos on Twitch, link in the description below, but I also like to do a brief summary of them for those who don't want to sit through a nearly 2-hour live stream on Twitch with a bunch of advertisements, so here we go. Oh no, wait, before we get started, listen, writing and editing a script and doing video editing, it all takes time. So this is going to be an unscripted video without a whole lot of interesting things to look at, I'm sorry. This is just going to be a quickie video where I may have a few ums or uhs or I may misspeak. And to reiterate, link to the full official video will be in the description below. Anyway, after the initial banter that starts off every Paizo Live, they got into it. The first section was about Dawn of the Frogs, a new Pathfinder game night thing. It's essentially a game in a box, and it contains rules to GM and play a first-level adventure called Dawn of the Frogs, and includes dice and characters. It sounds like a new updated version of the Pathfinder beginner box. Each new section introduces a new aspect of Pathfinder gameplay. Unlike the beginner box, it's much expanded and has between 9 and 12 hours of gameplay. It includes roleplay and subsystem stuff, not just combat, which is kind of different than the beginner box, which was mostly combat focused. Anyway, it's a great way to introduce new players to Pathfinder. It includes a 30-page adventure booklet, characters, reference cards, 3 double-sided maps. They're not battle maps, they're printed on poster paper. And it sounds like it's similar to Starfinder's Murder in Metal City. It does not require a lot of prep from the GM, and there's no buy-in for new players. The plot involves the Iconics, that is to say Valeros, Kira, Ezrin, and Mauricio saving a town of frog people in a swamp. There are 3 chapters, and the first chapter is pretty linear, but as the game moves on, it gets more sandboxy as the characters progress, and players become more familiar with the rules, and so it starts off kind of hand-holdy, telling you where to go and what to do, but then it opens up as you get more familiar with the rules. Now, I normally don't cover the ad breaks between the different sections of Paizo Live, but I did want to show this. There is a new Starfinder promo cinematic by Onario Studios. I know, it looks a little janky, I'm not blind, but the studio they contracted isn't huge, and it's cool to see everything animated. Plus there are Jinsul, who are Starfinder enemies, and I don't think we've ever seen them animated before, and it's cool to see them. The second section is about Starfinder GM Core, and that came out at the start of the month. Now, I'm already working on a Starfinder GM Core overview that should come out in 2 weeks, so I'm not going to go over it in great detail here. They did say that there's a lot of variant rules, like if you want to do a 1940s pulpy kind of campaign with air and space, there are rules for that. The book also contains rules for vehicles, including hoverboards seen here. Side note, the crew became obsessed with the fact that Obadiah in this image is losing her sandwich, and by the end of the stream they had theory crafted a sandwich artisan background and a new witch warper paradox called the Sandwich Warper. Those aren't real, they aren't published, but it was fun to see. The Paizo crew also got sidetracked by the fact that the GM Core has rules for a forklift, which of course inspired chat to quote Mystery Science Theater 3000.
This is the song written for the train chase. This is the chase, Rocky and Ken. He tried to kill me with a forklift. Olay!
Of course, a lot of info in Starfinder GM Core is repeated from Pathfinder GM Core. They are based on the same system, so, a Starfinder GM is going to need to know the same stuff. But there are new things, like new subsystems, such as a hacking subsystem that can involve the whole party, not just the guy good with computers. So, you can try and find a password by using social engineering or something. They also said that sometimes hacking may not even involve the computer skill at all, such as hacking into an ancient Magitech computer. And designing a hacking encounter is supposedly super fast and easy, maybe taking as little as 5 minutes, so it's easy to pivot if your party tries to hack something that you didn't intend for them to. There's also a subsystem for cinematic starship combat. This is starship combat that's a bit more abstracted and not tactical. Tactical rules will be coming out in Tech Core, which should be coming out early 2026. These cinematic starship combat rules will be less cumbersome and draconian than Starfinder First Edition. A lot of people really hated starship combat in Starfinder First Edition, and this maybe fixes that. Also, it should be easier to make characters that can participate in starship combat. That was one of the big problems with starship combat in Starfinder First Edition. People would accidentally make characters that just could not participate in starship combat at all. And then finally, there are rules for converting Pathfinder equipment and classes into Starfinder and vice versa, especially for certain problematic classes like the Operative. The third section was about 2 new board games that Paizo's making. We've talked about them before, so this is just going to be a quick overview. The first of the 2 games is Monster Match, a monster dating game where you compete with other players to see who can be the best match with a monster. And it's not all players trying to date one monster, it's multiple players, multiple monsters, and whoever ends up with the strongest relationship wins. Monsters in Monster Match have randomized preferences, and the preferences spell out match, so it's mischief, adventure, thoughtfulness, charisma, and hedonism. There are different dates you can go on in this game, and different dates give you bonuses and penalties. Each monster has one date they like, and then the other things they like are randomized, so it's not the same thing every time. But like the Sphinx will always love going to trivia night. There's also a board game night date if you want. And of course you can also give monsters gifts to try and win their heart. The second board game they talked about is Pathfinder Quest. This is a GM-less Pathfinder-like board game, similar to the D&D board games or the Descent Journey into the Dark game. Here's my copy of that. But these games take place over multiple sessions which form one overarching story, and there's multiple different overarching stories you can have in the box, so you can play it multiple times. There's even an adventure sheet where you can record what has happened, and that stuff may come back to either help you or bite you in the butt later on. And they said that the door is open for expansions if this game does well. It is standalone, don't worry, but it is designed in such a way that it could handle expansions. And it will be going live on BackerKit this month. Then, as always, they did a Q&A section at the end. I don't have much to say about the Q&A section other than James Jacobs did say that he has an idea for a new Pathfinder adventure path that is a spiritual sequel to Iron Gods. He specified it will not be Iron Gods 2, but he wants spaceships and robots in Pathfinder, not Starfinder. By the way, none of this is greenlit, this is just something he wants to do. Anyway, that's all for the Paizo Live for September 2025. Hey, as a reminder, I have a Patreon. I'm going to try and post something fun there once a month, but honestly, it's just a way to help keep this channel financially viable. Just a few bucks, and I'm going to try and toy with the idea of adding a limited higher tier where you can request a specific video. Let me know what you think. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!